Good morning, listeners and viewers. You're listening to Ammar live on a radio show right here on Spice FM. And each week we'll bring you some news, views, and one or two clues from the business world. Asian Business Connections aims to connect, support, and promote the Asian and wider communities. And whether you have a business, want to start a business, or just want to talk business, we can help. Gosh, it's Friday, the 29th of April, and it's the last Juma of Ramzan. So, yeah. Well done to all of the Muslims in the world and everyone that has persevered. Hopefully feel better, refreshed, energized for all of your efforts, and may you be blessed and rewarded accordingly. It was a wonderful couple of weeks in that the celebration of Easter, the celebration of Vasaki, celebration of Passover, almost all happened in concert. And I think what I'd like to do is share with you an article that I'd written for the Northern Insight. So you're going to get a bit of an insight into that, but ultimately I think it's a great article, and I'll come back to it. But in the first instance, let's do this. I'm hoping that Jalf is going to join us, and that I just need to multitask and hide some non-video participants. Let's see if I can push some buttons and make some magic happen. We've got a fantastic show lined up for you this morning. We've got Lynn McManus, the founder of Pathways for All, joining us around about 10:20, and then at 10:40 we've got special guest Ricky Gleeson, host of From the Outside Looking In podcast. And then there's a few other things that we've got to share with you. So let me push some buttons and let's get going with the show. Here we go. Okay, so hopefully everybody can see that. It's your weekly show business. I appreciate if you're listening on Spice FM, then you won't be able to see the presentation and the video and the fun that we're having, but hopefully you will get an insight into what we are doing by what we're seeing. First and foremost, AB Curry Club, delighted that the Being Woman will be hosting the Curry Club on the 19th of May. Check out the ABC website now to find out more. Business topic of the week. Well, this morning's business topic of the week is a growth mindset. So over 30 years ago, psychologist Dr. Carol Dweck coined the idea of a growth mindset. A growth mindset is the belief that if you're not as good at something as you would like, you can work to improve. She tells the story of hearing about a high school in Chicago where students would get a not yet grade instead of a failing grade. And I thought that was fantastic, she said, because if you get a failing grade, you think, I'm nothing, I'm nowhere. But if you get the grade not yet, you understand that you're on a learning curve. It gives you a path into the future. She found that students that were taught to have a growth mindset were much more likely to improve their grades than students that had not been taught the growth mindset. But the growth mindset is not only applicable to school children. Entrepreneurs constantly have to learn and teach themselves new skills and succeed. For example, did you know that Walt Disney's first film studio closed down due to bankruptcy barely a year after he first started? Similarly, Bill Gates applied his knowledge from a failed first computer business to build Microsoft. Another example is an entrepreneur learning how to navigate a new financial records system, or a CRM. Understanding that failure does not mean the end, but is instead a learning experience, is key to finding success as an entrepreneur. The growth mindset means the belief that we can continuously develop and build up our skill set. So how can you start to develop a growth mindset? One easy way is to give and ask for feedback. Once you understand where you have the potential to do better, you can begin to create strategies for how to improve. Another easy way is to set yourself SMART, that's specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely goals that stretch you and get you out of your comfort zone. Then begin planning how you can achieve them. As a leader, you can also promote a growth mindset among your team by encouraging continuous learning and providing opportunities for your team to improve or learn new things. You can contact the SME Centre of Excellence for more information or support on this topic. And from next week, there will be a clear link to the business topic of the week associated with the SME Centre of Excellence, who are developing this content and supporting it. That was business topic of the week. I now wouldn't mind sharing with you, whilst I try and multitask and see where Jalf is. So let's see. So I wanted to share with you the fact is, apologies, a friend has a very good friend is messaging me, and one thing I don't usually do because I struggle is multitasking, as you can probably tell. The wonderful Lynn McManus, the founder of Pathways for All, is going to be joining us very, very shortly. And I'm delighted that Lynn is sort of making the time to come along and share the incredible work that Pathways for All does. And it is, in fact, a very close family friend who is part of this organization as well. And I'm delighted to put a big shout out to Sister Sarah Stafford, who's a wonderful person, making a huge difference. And lots of people smile is what she does. Anyway, before we get Lynn on the show in 5 minutes' time, and hopefully Jalf will be joining us at some point, I just wanted to share with you this article that I'd written because it illustrates how big of a deal religion is, and indeed the importance of having some common purpose. So the article is entitled, "May the Force Be With You." Return of the Jedi is an incredible movie. It was also one of my earliest claims to fame. My younger brother, who was close friends at the time with Anthony McPartlin, one half of Ant and Dweck, had been invited to his birthday party and to watch the movie. As my brother was only 8, my mother insisted I chaperoned him, which was great fun for me but probably not so much for my younger brother. Ever since I can remember, I've been a Star Wars fan, from watching the very first movie back in the late 1970s to the most recent spin-outs, each one showcasing and illustrating the power of hope, faith, and love. The story of good versus evil, a force that connects each and every one of us, something akin to religion. In April, over 4 billion people, and it's wonderful because Jalf is here, and I'll come back to this article. Hey, Brother Jalf.
Good morning.
Juma Mubarak, Ramzan Mubarak. We've got a crazy show because we've got lots of guests coming on. I was just in the middle of reading out an article I'd written, Jalf. Nice top. Can I get one of them? I'll start wearing it, is what I'll do. So the article is entitled, "May the Force Be With You, Jalf."
Okay.
And I've written it for the Northern Insight. And basically, it starts by going, and apologies, I'm repeating some of it, but I'd only read out a couple of sentences. But Return of the Jedi is an incredible movie. It was also one of my earliest claims to fame, because my younger brother, who was close friends at the time with Anthony McPartlin, one half of Dweck, had been invited to his birthday party and to watch the movie. As my brother was only 8, my mother insisted I chaperone him, which was great fun for me, probably not so much for my brother. Ever since I can remember, I've been a Star Wars fan, from watching the very first movie back in the late 1970s to the most recent spin-outs, each one showcasing and illustrating the power of hope, faith, and love, the story of good versus evil, a force that connects each and every one of us, something akin to religion. In April, over 4 billion of the world's population celebrated a significant religious occasion, from the Christian Easter to the Sikh Vaisakhi to the Jewish Passover to the wonderful Islamic holy month of Ramzan. Over 50% of people living on earth celebrated their blind faith. Personally, I recognize, respect, and rejoice all religions. For me, they offer a moral compass, a code of conduct, a sense of common purpose. Interpreted correctly, I believe religion encourages everyone to love and support one another. There is a place and space for anyone within religion. You just need to have hope and faith. And it doesn't matter what color, gender, or how able or less able you are, you can practice a religion. I also fully respect and appreciate all of us who don't want to subscribe to a religion. Choosing and following a religion should be a choice. Equally, being part of the dark side or light side of the Force is a choice, which interestingly, a number of people done so in 2001 by recording their religion as Jediism on the national census. There are even examples of Darth Vader being both, flitting between each other, but ultimately coming back to the light side. Anyway, it's 10:20. We've got a guest coming on, so we're going to let her in. But anyway, Jalf, how is it going?
Yes, it's been good. We're nearly there, Mark. A couple of days to go. So we did the
looking forward to the
Qadr subject to what the
looking forward to the celebrations. Anyway, let's bring our guest on and hear a little bit more about Pathways for All. Good morning, Lynn. Are you there? Hello. Hopefully Lynn will join us in a second. In the meantime, Jalf, is everyone winning? There we go.
Oh,
Are we
there
there?
we are.
Right. I'm hopeless with technology. I'm so sorry.
That's it. Well, join the rest of us, because I don't think we're any better than.
Right.
But lovely to have you on our show. Do you want to start by saying, I take it you're using somebody else's?
I
Zoom?
am. Yes, I am. Because as I say, I just go into sort of a panic attack on any sort of technology. So the centre manager, Vicky, she actually set me up on hers.
Okay. So do you mind if I change the name of it to you? Is that all right?
Absolutely fine, yes.
Wonderful. So, Lynn, welcome to the show. Don't worry about the technology, but it'll do two things. It'll either work or it won't. So that's
Fair
all
point.
it can do.
That's a fair point.
So tell us, please, tell us who you are, what you do, and why you do it.
Okay, my name is Lynn McManus, and I am the founder of the charity Pathways for All, which is well, it was set up before we actually got the dream, and the dream was a children's centre, which is in the Rising Sun Country Park in North Tyneside, and it's a centre for children with disabilities. Okay. We basically have everything that we could possibly want for our children, and that's children with any disability whatsoever, 0 to 25. We offer clubs as well as the facilities, and it's so important, because there's nothing like this actually at all in the northeast. We have families travelling from Cumbria and all over because there's such a need for the families to come somewhere where the children can just be themselves and the parents can relax and not feel isolated, and get the opportunity to meet other parents as well, which is really important. Yeah.
Sorry, please continue. We're listening.
All right. It was set up, initially the idea came from the fact, I don't know what you know about me, but I've actually got 10 children. I have 5 birth children and 5 adopted children, and the 5 adopted girls all have special needs. Now, my eldest one now, who's 20, when she was about 5, we were asked to leave soft play because of her behaviour. And I tried to explain at the time that she had a disability and what all her problems were, and she was deaf and this and that and the other, and they wouldn't accept it. And I just came out and thought, well, if I can't go to soft play, where can I go? Fortunately, I'm an old mum, not a young mum who was perhaps venturing out on her own for the first time. And I just thought, you're going to have to do something. So I set up a couple of youth clubs, advertised through the local special schools, and they were chock-a-block. So then I thought, if we can do this, why can't we have our own place? So I approached the council, and they gave me a derelict hospital, provided I raised £500,000, or just short of £500,000, to turn it into what it is now. And the centre now has been open for 10 years, and it has just grown and grown and grown. And as I say, we've got families travelling from everywhere because there's such a need for somewhere for our children.
Wow.
Wonderful story. And gosh, congratulations, 10 kids. I think that's wonderful. And Lynn, it's those personal type of experiences that really provide that impetus, don't they? The sort of, as in, I want to make a difference.
I think every successful charity tends to have a personal element. You do it because of, be it maybe you've had cancer, so you've become part of a cancer charity and you've become passionate. But from my point of view, it was the fact of what happened to me. And believe me, we hear the same story echoed still all the time when we have a new family come to sort of have a look around the children's centre, and we'll tell them the history, and they'll say, oh, that happened to me. I was asked to leave. Or perhaps they'll say, actually, the last time I went out to a soft play, all I got was stares off other people because my child was different, or perhaps behaving differently. And it makes you feel so uncomfortable, so much so you don't go out. It's easier to not bother. And then the families become isolated. As I've said, we are a charity, which is, and to date, we've had like no input from the local authorities or anything like that. So everything we do, we have to do ourselves to run the centre, which is open 7 days a week. The hours change between term time and holidays, but generally we're open to about 7 o'clock at night, so we can run after school clubs as well.
Wow.
I think it's a wonderful charity. Sorry.
It is, and I think, Lynn, does it involve a lot of finances to keep it running on a weekly, monthly basis?
It does. Ironically, as the story goes, when we first set up, because it's a standard joke, when we raise money, I actually class the money as mine, so I'm extremely mean with it. And when we first started the charity, I was managing to be here 7 days a week on my own, because I don't take any salary or any wages or any expenses. So I was managing to be here 7 days a week and just run it on a tiny electricity bill and insurance. So it was costing at that point virtually nothing. Now it costs about £12,000 a month, and that is again keeping it to the bare minimum. We have, you know, a small team of staff and a small team of volunteers, and then on top of that, it's basically covering the running costs of essential things like insurance and utility bills,
Like power.
Ofsted, you know, we are Ofsted registered, so just making sure that we keep all the things that we really have to do up to date. But we look at every penny that we spend, because I look at every penny and think, do we need it? Do we want it? Is it for the children? Tends to be, if it's for the children, it's always a tick. But no, I'm very, very frugal with the money that we raise.
Good.
Well, that's, you know, I think obviously appreciate and understand that, and that's what a sort of small focused charity has to do as well, Lynn.
Yeah,
So I believe, and it's, you know, it's the wonderful Carol sort of connected us, and I believe she's part of the team now and supporting you. And Carol's obviously helping enable fundraise and things like that. But Lynn, tell us a little bit about sort of, you know, the highlights over the last sort of 10 years, because that's a fantastic length of time, isn't it, that you've been there?
One of the highlights was we were able to extend the building, which was huge, because, and again, it's a positive reason, because it was a hospital, so it's not a small building by any stretch of the imagination, but we actually ended up having to extend it. And that was through the generosity of a company that supported us for many years, actually from the Asian community, to be perfectly honest.
Right.
So that was huge, that was massive, what we managed to do there, because it was £100,000 extension we were able to put on to the centre. Then after that, we've done the same with the park. We had an amazing outdoor play area. I've personally thought it was always perfect, but through lockdown, we applied for various grants that we were successful with, and we've managed to actually add another £100,000 worth of equipment into the park, which it's spectacular, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I'm not exaggerating. We have parents come in here and they cry when they see the facilities we've got to offer for the children.
And the level of need of the young people, Lynn, varies from what to what?
It varies hugely.
Right.
We offer, for instance, we have a specific group that is geared around anxiety now, which is something different. Through COVID, we've realised a lot of children aren't even managing to go back to school because of the anxieties. So we've got a group that's specifically looking at supporting the children with anxieties. We bring in a pet dog, and that's been a huge success, through to extremely challenging behaviours, physical disabilities, literally everything in the spectrum is huge, but no child has ever turned away. We will work our hardest to make sure that any child is supported from here. Sometimes we do play schemes, sometimes it means finding 3 members of staff to support one child, if that's what it takes, to give the parents a little break. We do parent groups where we have coffee mornings, we do outings, we've got caravans, so we offer subsidised holidays. And again, that's something that if you have a child with challenging behaviour, you just mightn't feel comfortable going and hiring a caravan because you don't know what your child, whether they would damage it and things like that. Or at least with ours, and there is any damage, we understand, you know, we get it, sort of thing. We basically do, I always say we do everything. We offer support to siblings. Oh dear.
So as in those that don't have additional needs.
Yes, because
right.
basically what happens is, if you, and I can speak from personal experience, if you have a child that's got quite a complex disability, the parent's time is focused 90% on the child that's got the disabilities that needs all their care and attention. And if they've got a sort of little Johnny who says, Mom, 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 can I, and they always get in a minute, it's sometimes the siblings feel a little bit left out. So we've actually had taken siblings on holiday before from the sibling group, where again, it's an opportunity for them to get together, to talk about their problems, and they might love their sibling, but it's lovely also to get a break from them. And what we tend to do there is we take them off site, because this is the centre they come to with their sibling with a disability. So rather than them feeling they have to come here, we have maybe a 6 weekly meeting and we say, what would you like to do in the next 6 weeks? And it could be go bowling, go for a pizza, whatever. And each weekly night we would take them to one of the things that they've asked to do away from here.
Isn't that wonderful? Because I think, as you say, all too often the focus tends to be on the person requiring the additional support.
Yeah.
I've got a 9-year-old and a 3-year-old vampire, and you know, touch wood, and you know, certainly don't have any additional needs as identified. But you know, anyway, I can't compare it. All I was going to say is the 3-year-old is a little vampire who constantly wants the attention, and you know, the 9-year-old is always told to be patient. You know, as in. And plus, because he's older and he's caring and whatever else, but yeah, I can
forget. I mean, it's little things like how many times you might just say, because I've got a 9-year-old still in nappies. You could turn around and say, can you go and pass me that? Can you go and do it? And they become like your legs where they're running to help you out. And even just a small thing like that, you don't actually think you're putting onto them. But if that sibling, to say the sibling wasn't there, you wouldn't be asking that of the child. So so we try and support in different ways the whole family. So I said parent coffee mornings, parent training. Literally, we want to be parent led, so we tend to sort of say to them, if there's anything you feel we could help you with, or anything you would think would be better if it was here, tell us and we will try and get it for you and do it for you. And I mean, touch wood, you know, so far everything's been fantastic. Very
amazing. Oh, that's good. That's good. And tell us a little bit more around the type of things, how people can support you, Lynn. What are you doing?
We, as I say, I've done the sort of hands-on fundraising from the start, and then we can apply for grants, which the centre manager will apply for the odd grant. We've recently just brought Carol in 2 days a week to help us, because she has a background, which I'm not. I'm a housewife. I mean, I joke about that all the time. I am a housewife, terrified of technology, and just wing it, really, to be quite honest. But normally the highlight of the year was always our charity ball. And we did 10, and we've raised an awful lot of money at them. And I always said I would do 10 and then try and take a step back. So we are trying something different this year, which I wanted to mention to you. I mean, I can show you a poster of it. On the 26th of June, we're having a white party. I don't know if you can see that.
And that up a bit. Up. Yeah, perfect. Yeah, no, down. Stop. Sorry. It was almost like higher than a 4 and a lower than a whatever it was. But anyway, I can see that. So white party on the 26th of June.
Yeah, and it's at the Gosforth Marriott. And basically, it's amazing entertainment. There'll be super food. And it's sort of going to be not a ball, because it's obviously people just dressed white. The guys can come in jeans and a white shirt, literally, so it'll be more casual, more Ibiza style, we've sort of said, sort of chilled, but with amazing entertainment and a big party at the end of it. And it
So
starts.
Jaff would love that. You know, Jaff is like a raver. He just
Already
raves
got my
all the
white-
time.
Starts
Already
at
got my white
1:30.
top on.
Yeah, white top. That's all you need. As I say, if it's hot, part of it's going to be outside and part of it inside, and we've got a plan B for rain. But literally, you could be in a pair of shorts and a white top, and that would be fine. If the ladies want to dress up, that's fine too. And it's just trying something different to get away from the corporate ball, where a lot of people don't like. I think the girls like to be dressed up, but I think the men feel a little bit, oh God, have I got to put a bow tie on again? Where this is going to be sort of same sort of ideas. We'll have an auction and things like that, but it's a case of thinking outside of the box. I mean, Carol's just organised a golf day for us, which is the end of May.
Yeah. So it's Friday the 20th, I think.
Friday in May, that's right.
It should be the poster here. It's a chance to win a car, Lynn, is that right?
I think it's a hole-in-one.
Right.
I think because this is totally new to us. Carol knows all how to do these sort of things. And
Wonderful.
basically, I believe what happens is it's through insurance. You're taking insurance out.
Right.
And if there's a hole-in-one, you literally win a car. Now, she's done it for a previous charity and it has been done. She said she said somebody won a car. So that would be amazing publicity, obviously.
Oh, without a doubt. But you've got 18 holes championship course down at the George Washington Golf Club.
That's right.
And you can also sponsor a hole.
Yeah, I think it's £50. £50 to sponsor a hole.
There's lunch, prizes, and raffle, and the number to call if you want to is 0191 266 5233, or you can email Carol at pathways4all. That's a number 4 all.co.uk.
Yep, that's perfect.
And then Lynn, obviously, given the criticality of your offer and things like that, people can just make donations in any way, can't they?
Absolutely, yes. Any platform. Obviously, we've got websites, we've got Facebook pages. The Children's Centre is actually called the Tim Lamb Children's Centre.
Okay.
Basically, Tim Lamb was a person. He was actually the director of the Metro Centre and Eldon Square, so he used to manage both.
Yeah.
And he was an old neighbour of mine, and basically I begged him to help us, and eventually he said, oh, okay, I'll help you. And this is going back to the very start, and he was involved with us for about 2 years when we were raising all the initial amount of money, and we signed on a leap year for the centre on the 29th of February, and unfortunately Tim sadly, literally for the want of it, dropped down dead on the 20th of March. So you never saw anything happen with the centre at all. It was a derelict building.
We knew Tim. We knew him.
You knew
him? Jalf and I. Yeah, we knew Tim.
So Tim was he was our chair of trustees. So that was
amazing.
That was the day it became the Tim Lamb Children's Centre. And as I say, it's now 10 years.
Wow, is it that long ago? I mean, he was a good man, Tim, very well regarded, well respected in business.
He was. Excellent. Well, Lynn, thank you ever so much for coming on. Sorry, we've got someone else joining the show in a second, but we were keen to get you on. Maybe we can get you back on, and sort of you can share a little bit more what's happening, any future events and activities. But if anybody wants to find out more, it's www.pathways4all.co.uk.
Can I quickly just say, if they want to bring children along, obviously we'll show anybody around that might be interested in obviously getting their child supported from here as well. That's important.
Amazing. Thank you.
Absolutely brilliant what you do, Lynn. Well done.
Excellent.
Very strong lady.
Thank you for the time.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
And our next guest, who's been waiting patiently, is right here. Usually we'd have a guest on. Ricky, good morning.
You're right. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Ricky.
I can hear a couple of different people there. Can you hear me now?
We can hear you. Yes, there are two people here. That's why you can hear two of us.
Oh, right. Okay. Makes sense.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. Cheers. How are you?
Good, good. Thanks for coming in and on. Do you want to introduce yourself, Ricky? Who are you? What do you do? Why do you do it?
What I do at the moment, I suppose technically I'm unemployed at the moment. I've just left the armed forces. I've just left the Royal Navy, and I am currently the project manager of bringing a national sports charity to Newcastle upon Tyne called Sports Trader, which is, in essence, it's a charity shop that sells donated sporting equipment for very, very little to families that otherwise probably couldn't afford, you know, new trainers and things like that. And then we reinvest all of the money that we make into the local areas, into the deprived areas, and we put on sporting opportunities and coaching opportunities for underprivileged young people. And we also do a few other things, like the shops themselves hire young offenders or ex-offenders or young people at risk of getting groomed by like county lines gangs and things like that. Do you know what I mean? And we get them into sporting opportunities in the area, as well as getting retail experience. We then also, we're going to tie in with local gyms, etc., and get them living healthy and fit lifestyles, and hopefully trying to make a bit of a difference.
Cool. And Ricky, why are you doing all of this?
Well, so as I said, I've just left the Royal Navy, where I've just done 13 years. But actually, previous to that, as a young person myself, bit of a cliche, I didn't make it through school. I was homeless by 15. I was in prison by 17. I was homeless for years. I was homeless until my mid-20s. I racked up 42 convictions by the time I was 21. I made a mess of things, really, and it's really about trying to pass on my life experience and, with my military background now, and the fact that I like to keep fit and healthy, and I'm aware of how much of a positive role sports can play in a young person's life, in keeping them on the straight and narrow. I'm just keen to put something back in, kind of thing. So, that's where we're at. That's what we want to do. We've got a lot of things lined up. We've got a lot of things lined up. We've got the shop premises lined up. We've tied in with Newcastle College so that we can put on, a legitimate sort of road to employment and qualifications for people that come in. We've got one or two employers that have said outright that they will employ people that we think are the right candidates. Newcastle United Foundation want to work with us so that we can put on a sporting program, etc. I can't give away the details of the premises, but they're in the city centre. Because of the fact that it's a registered charity, we'll be getting that rent-free and very low rates. What we haven't got, and I'm not going to beat around the bush, is we haven't got any money at the moment. So, that's where I'm at. What I'm really looking for is for sort of people from the local community, businesses especially, to give us some backing and invest in the young people and invest in the area, really, because this is proven to drive crime down, which can only ever be a positive thing. And that's from both sides. It can only be a positive thing for the people committing crime and also for the area itself. So that's where we're at.
Wonderful. And Ricky, why Newcastle?
So ignore my accent. It's obvious to everyone I've got a southern accent. I was born in Slough, but Newcastle's my home. My wife's a Geordie. I went to school and I moved up to South Shields when I was 12. I moved up to Newcastle as a teenager. Even though I was homeless and everything, it was around the Newcastle area. I used to actually sell the Big Issue at the Monument. I've lost the accent over the years because I've moved around so much, but Newcastle's my home, and it's where my wife and myself have returned to. And, my little children that were born in Cornwall, I've brought them up here. So hopefully they're going to have Geordie accents a stronger Geordie accent than mine soon enough. But yeah, I love Newcastle. I think it's a brilliant city, you know, and I've been all over the world, and I think Newcastle's one of the best cities in the world. I just think there's a few things that we could improve, and I think that as a community we can do it together.
Excellent.
That's a lovely story. It's a great story. It's an inspirational one, and well done on obviously achieving what you have, having gone through the trials and tribulations. So what got you into the Navy?
I just, you know, I'd reached the stage, like I said there. So, you know, even though I'd been in lots of trouble, I was sorting things out. And then actually in my mid-20s in Newcastle, I sort of fell into boxing as a hobby, just boxing training and just getting fit in general. And then, you know, I got fairly fit. And then all of a sudden I realized that I hadn't been in trouble for a decade, and that, you know, all of my convictions, as though, even though there was a lot of them, they were never for anything serious, which is the sort of pattern that you see with prolific young offenders. They're not career criminals. They're not, you know, they're not pulling off big heists or anything like that. You know, a lot of the time it's just, it's not being able to get out of that cycle. But I'd not been in trouble for a decade. So, you know, as I was sort of scratching about and bouncing from very cheaply paid job to very cheaply paid job. So I just went in and spoke to the careers office and explained my background and said that I wanted to try and, you know, get in and turn everything around. And they were really supportive. And I decided that the Royal Navy was the best fit for me. And yeah, I did the selection process, and then off I went to Raleigh to do my 9 weeks training. And yeah, I joined for 3 years, and 4 years. I was going to do 4 years, and I've just left after 13 years. I've been all over the world. You know, my job was working on the aircraft carriers on a flight deck with, you know, lots of aircraft around me. So it's been good, but it's over. And now I really want to try and get this up and running in Newcastle.
Why this charity?
Well, because sports made it.
Oh, Ricky, are you there?
Difference to me, you know, as much as the Royal Navy. Can you hear me? Can you hear?
Yeah, sorry, you just, I think it was signaled slightly.
Yeah, have you got me? Yeah, can you hear me? Sorry, yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
what I was saying is that, as you know, the Royal Navy was a massive part of my life and helped me turn everything around. But none of that would have happened if I hadn't have got fit in the first place. And getting fit and just living a healthier lifestyle really changed a lot about my behavior, the company that I was keeping, you know, my hobbies and interests suddenly changed. You know, when I was right in the midst of offending all of the time, you know, I had some really bad drug issues as well. And the company that you meet in that situation isn't the best kind of people. As soon as I started getting fit and living a healthier lifestyle, you know, I naturally gravitated towards people that also did that. So, you know, the offending behavior was non-existent because all I was focused on was living a healthy lifestyle and playing football and doing a bit of boxing. Do you know what I mean? And I'm really adamant that sports and a healthy lifestyle can make a massive difference in a young person's life that is, you know, in a cycle of chaos, really.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, and thank you for sharing that. It sort of helps explain the why, and I think it's a key critical message, you know, both for those that may not be sort of, you know, purely engrossed in some of those challenges, but even generally being fit and healthy has an incredible impact, you know.
Well, yeah, and that's where the shop comes in itself, because, you know, the proceeds of the shop go towards working with all of those people that I was just talking about. But the shop itself will be selling, you know, new or almost new sporting equipment for really cheap. When I say really cheap, I mean a lot of the items are going to be £5. So even if you're not getting into trouble, if you're from a sort of area or a background where it's hard to supply for your kids, you know, and it's hard to get them all the sporting equipment that they need, then that's where the shop comes in, because we'll be selling that equipment for really cheap. And on top of that, you know, the bonus is that the money then goes back into the community itself.
Fantastic. Well done.
But
And where do people find out, Ricky, more about?
So you can find Sports Trader Newcastle have got a Facebook group. If you're on Twitter, you can go to @ToonTrader. And, you know, other than that, you can just get in contact with me directly, Ricky Gleeson. I'm on social media. I'm on Twitter and Facebook. You can add me straight away. You know, I won't beat around the bush. This is the plan that we want to do. So the charity themselves have got 13 shops around, I think 12 shops around the country. All of those shops get funded by the local police area. The local police in the area fund them usually up to about 15 grand, which is what gets the shops open. And then the shops run themselves. Once they're open, they generate the revenue to run themselves. For one reason or another, we can't seem to get that funding up here from the police. I don't really want to get into it. It's just, it doesn't seem to be happening, which is very disappointing. So I'm now sort of turning to the local communities and, you know, local business. And it is as simple as, you know, if I could get, you know, 20 people to give me, you know, a few £100 each, then I'll get the shop up and running that way. You know, there's a GoFundMe. If people want that, you can find that online and on my social media. So yeah, that's where I'm at. I've got, you know, I've got the plan in place. I've got everything in place except the money. So you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush. That's sort of where I'm at. I really need. You know, I'm a massive believer. I'm not very political, and I make no bones about that. You know, even when I was homeless and everything, no government ever really helped me. The people that helped me were sort of other, you know, normal human beings, if you like, and myself. And that's sort of what I'm asking for here. I want the local community to get involved and, you know, donate money and whatnot. So,
well done, Ricky, and we'll obviously naturally, you know, sort of push that message out and see how that can be supported. So Sister Shireen had introduced you. Is Shireen sort of getting behind this, supporting this?
Yeah. So I met Shireen through Lance Haggith, who is he's the CEO of it all. You know, he created this charity from scratch. He's an ex-basketball player himself, and he had a successful business down in London. And then he's really keen on this. And then he introduced me to Shireen, who's obviously from the Newcastle area. She took an interest, A, in the project because she loves the project. B, as you can probably tell by looking at me, even though I've got a really Irish name, I'm mixed race. I'm half Asian. So you know, we had a little connection there. And then she was saying, "Have you reached out to the sort of Asian community?" I explained that I look very Asian. My wife is Indian. You know, I've married into an Asian family, but I've never really been part of the Asian community, if I'm being honest. I'm mixed race, and I grew up around the sort of white side of my family. So it's been nice for me to actually suddenly, you know, have this connection with that side of my heritage.
Good.
Excellent.
Well, Ricky, thank you ever so much for joining us this morning. You know, please, I'll get Martha to make sure that we continue to push out and promote what you're doing, how you're doing it, and look forward to hearing and seeing, you know, sort of the magic happen in Newcastle, so you can make that difference. Yeah,
brilliant. Well, thank you for having me on. And yeah, like I said, if anybody listening can help, I will be eternally grateful. Eternally grateful.
All right. Thanks, Ricky.
Good luck, Ricky. Good luck. Thank you.
Jalf.
A great story from Ricky and
very much so. And Lynn.
What a woman.
Excuse me. Sorry.
I just think about all that mental strength that Lynn and Ricky both have to do what they're doing. So hats off.
Oh, it's wonderful. It's wonderful. You know, and doing it for the benefit of others is the you know, great thing. So Jalf, what's going on? Football is going particularly well.
Yes, we are. Well, we're one of the top teams in terms of recent results in 2022, and you're talking a stretch of 4 months getting into the 5th month. We're kind of one of the top 3 best performing clubs in Europe right now. So Newcastle United as a club, it's been doing phenomenally well. I think the astute signings that they made in January, it was critical. With all the money that we have at the moment, it wasn't going for the big names, but it was going for people with a real character, experience in the Premier League and warriors. And I think, team players, and I think that's what's given us the success. When you compare us to someone like Manchester United, one of the biggest clubs in the world, and who don't have that, and then you see how they struggle every single game because they don't have that unified belief that they got a team full of superstars, but they don't have the fighters, the warriors, the team players, and I think that's what goes against them. So we're in a really great place, Ammar. Obviously, it's
Liverpool tomorrow.
Liverpool tomorrow, and I think it's a matter of, we think that we have a chance, and we're gonna go toe to toe with Liverpool, and we've won the last 6 in a row at home, St James's Park. I mean, St James's Park is a cauldron at the moment, as it should be, because I mean it's a very, very intimidating atmosphere for anybody. I think it's probably absolutely, Ammar.
I'm there with Yusuf tomorrow, and Yusuf's a Liverpool fan.
Oh, excellent! Excellent. Well, that's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a great match. It's a 12:30 kickoff,
which is good. I'm glad it is, because so that obviously taking Yusuf along. It's
where are you gonna be sat, Ammar?
Just in the chairman's suite. So
good. Good.
It's we're there. Right. Anyway, not quite. But where are you? Where are you again?
We're still in the same place, just in the Milburn stand in the Platinum Suite. So not that far away from you, but we'll have to find you and wave at you, I think.
Yeah, no. So I think we're exactly in a similar type of place. So
yeah. But the atmosphere is brilliant. You're going to see what difference it is from probably the last time that you went. It is just incredible. The atmosphere is incredible. It's probably up there with, I mean, there's some great stadiums in the country. I mean, Anfield is one of them. They're known for the intimidating atmosphere that they create for their opponents. Very, very passionate, but we have a very similar fan base too, and I think we're equally as loud. And I think now we have organizations such as War Flags that are doing a tremendous job on livening up the stadium with they have a different theme in terms of with their flags every single week. I think that's amazing. One noticeable difference, Ammar.
Are you at level 4 of the Milburn stand, John?
I'm not too sure. We're in line with the director's box, so we're on. I'm not sure what level that is.
It's not level 4 then. It must be level 4.
So. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is level 4. I think it is level 4. Okay. But yeah, it's going to be. I'm still so pleased you're going with Yusuf, because it's going to be something so memorable. And
well, as in obviously, I think we're looking at what to do for the next season. But I mean, I was taking him to the FA Cup final. But it's turned out to be quite painful. Obviously, Liverpool, in London versus Chelsea, isn't it?
Yeah.
And he's just a staunch Liverpool fan. Although I'll not be shouting that tomorrow, will I?
No, I think you'll find in where you're sat, there's going to be, obviously in the directors' boxes, there's always going to be Liverpool hierarchy. They're always going to be sat there as well. So I think, it's just there are going to be people dotted around, Liverpool fans dotted around. So one of my nephews is a mad Liverpool fan, so he's taking one of our tickets.
On 839 or email us at studio@splitfm.
Around 8,000 British troops will take part in exercises across Eastern Europe